Hello, crafty friends. Welcome to my channel. I'm Tiffany, and if you've watched my channel before, you probably already know that I'm a paper crafter, but maybe you didn't know that I also design and sell my own line of jewelry in Hawaii. Well, that's actually my real job. When I can combine paper crafting and jewelry making, I am a happy girl. And I am so excited to share this with you today. So one of my most popular videos that I've done in the past is the paper earring video. And I thought it would be fun to come up with some new styles for these paper earrings. So I've got some new designs for you today. I'm wearing one of them. And I actually used the planners that I got on clearance from Hobby Lobby last week. I showed that in my haul. So it had some gorgeous papers in it, like marble, stone looking papers. And I used that to make these earrings. And I love how they turned out. So if you want to learn how to make earrings out of paper, stay tuned. Here are those earrings and a few others that I've been making, and I will show more towards the end of the video. But I'm going to make this pair today and this one. And I will link that first video below if you'd like to watch that. Now, of course, you can use any paper that you have at home. Let me show you. If you didn't see my video last week, this is the planner that I got from Hobby Lobby for $4.25. But it's got all these gorgeous papers in it with gold foiling on them, and they are double-sided. So perfect. I did put resin on this one, but you don't have to. Just all these beautiful papers. Not all of them have words on them, and some have more than others. But look at this. I think this might be the one I need to use today. Is that so pretty? Okay, so some other ideas are greeting cards. Greeting cards are perfect for this because they usually have some smaller designs on them. And they are double-sided. It's already folded in half, so you can already get, double thickness out of it. And, just whatever, if you have a pretty greeting card at home that you got for your birthday that you've been saving, you could use that. I am also using some of my favorite brand of paper. I should get another sheet out, but you can see what I've been doing. How fun this is. This is Cartabella paper, and it is extra heavy, thick scrapbooking paper, but it's got a texture on it like watercolor paper. Let's see, I think you can see it better on this one. So I love that. Okay, but yes, you can use any paper you've got at home. I'm going to be using some 110-pound cardstock today for my insides because I do glue several layers of paper on top of each other to get the thickness of these. You could use cereal boxes, do some recycling, and I'm probably going to use, some of old packaging from my dinner the other night. Okay, if you don't have pretty paper at home, you can totally do some hand painting on it. All right. That paper I just showed, by the way, is from the Let's Travel collection from Cartabella, and it is an older collection. You'll need some jewelry findings and some tools, of course. Today I'll be using 2 pairs of needle nose pliers. This one is bent, but you don't have to have the bent. And then I've also got a pair of round nose pliers. You can make do with either one. You do need two pair. You can make do with two straights or a round and a straight. Okay. You'll need some glue, of course, just your choice of glue. I do prefer the art glitter glue for this project, but whatever you've got at home will be fine. I'm using a file, just a rough fingernail file, also some Mod Podge, and I have the I have the glossy and the matte. I love the matte for this project, for something like this, because it seals it but doesn't leave any. Don't seem to be focusing for some reason. Doesn't leave any brush strokes, and it's matte, and so you can't even tell it's there. I love it. You'll want something to punch holes if you're doing this design. I'll show you more in a few minutes as I work, but I actually cut the top off the die to make this shape, and I am using some dies today. But to punch your holes, there's so many things you can use. I have this leather punch that works great. I have, you can use just a pokey tool if you need to. It's not the best, but it'll work. A compass, a paper compass, I think that's what that is called, that we used in grade school. I've had this for many years, but that's got a nice sharp pokey end on it. A micro paper punch is great, and this one from Fiskars I've had so many years, and it is still really sharp, and it'll punch through all these thicknesses of paper. Works great. It will kind of mash your paper if you're using like a gold foil paper. It will kind of leave marks on it, so be aware of that. I have this little rotary little mini electric drill that is so amazing, and I can't find, this one is not available anymore, but I will find another one and link it for you guys, because I love this thing. And if you do polymer clay, you already have one of those. It's amazing. Or another super option, which I already had, was my We Are Memory Keepers eyelet setter. It has two sizes of holes. This is a perfect size, the smaller hole. Okay. So there's also a jewelry hole punch that you might have if you make jewelry, which is maybe a little similar to this one. I need to go find it. It's in my basement, but yeah, I'm not going to go find it right now. There's so many options for poking holes, punching holes. There are also a lot of options for as far as cutting your shapes. And this is what I'm using today, some dies that I purchased from Amazon. It was only $10 for the full set, you guys, and I love these things. Other options are, like I used in my last video, some paper punches. I have this big oval punch, which I love. Big circle punch. This is a 1.5 inches, I believe, but whatever size you have is great. Hexagon one, I'll link some of these. Today I'm using these. Let me show you the whole set here. And I've got most of the set here. I kind of misplaced the inside of this one diamond shape, and I just want to tell you a couple things about these. And I love these. It was $10 for the set, and they cut great. I did cut a piece of faux leather with them. To make things go quicker, I've learned since my last video, I take 2 pieces of the 110-pound cardstock, And I use spray glue and glue 2 pieces together, so that's already ready. And then I am able to cut through the 2 pieces of that heavy cardstock with these dies. So yeah, so then I'll cut 2 of those, 2 of the double thicknesses, and then I'll cut a front and a back out of the pretty papers. So yeah, I just wanted to show you real quick though. Might have to move things. A few tips. Oh, one of them is that these come all hooked together with, you can see these little burrs sticking out here. That's where it was hooked together. And like this shape here, these were hooked together like that. And so if you were to leave it like that, it would cut a shape that's open here in the center, and you'd have, let me grab it and show you. So you would end up with this. But if you take them apart, you end up with 2 shapes. My fingernails cannot pick anything up. Okay, and then you end up with a shape like that. And if you were wanting to put them back together, you know, so you could, after you took them apart, so you could get a shape like that, you'd need to use some kind of tape or something, and just, I would put a piece of washi tape on them and get them lined up on your paper and just tape it down like that. All right, same as with the diamond, it came with some smaller ones on the inside. And I don't know what I've done with them, but I noticed in the comments on Amazon that somebody said, oh, I was disappointed that it didn't come with the full diamond shape like the picture showed. And it does. You just have to take the little ones out of the center and take them apart, and then you can cut them separately. Hopefully that's making some sense. But I did kind of leave, like I left this little section all together. And I'll show you one at the end that I made with this one, and I'm in love with it. Okay, anyway, let's hurry and cut a couple really quickly. So I wanted to show you also that there are 2 shapes that are very similar here. This one is a solid, well, it's got a little hole here, and it did come with another piece. So it came with a piece like this that was attached. All right, so if you used them that way with this one attached, you'd get 2 of the same shape, like this. Whoops. And those are really cute. Very fun. But I don't know, that's a little, and then if you take this piece out of this one, then it's not going to cut anything out of the center, and you'll get the full shape, okay? Like this. And that was a little much for me, so I decided I wanted to cut off the top. So that's what I'm doing today. And that's how I got this shape. All right, and then I did hand make these wires, and I'll show you that as well. So let's hurry and cut a couple out. So I'm going to take those 2 away. And I'm going to use, this is May. I think they do have a few sheets that are similar to this in their open stock paper. Of course, they're, you know, single-sided. These are nice and thick and double-sided. Once you've cut one already, and where did I put that? Or you can go ahead and kind of make yourself a little template. Okay, so here's one that I had already cut out, and then you can kind of hold it, you know, there, and so you can see where you might want to place your die. I think that has been so helpful to me, to have something because it's really hard to tell, you know, what your earring is going to look like. So I love to do that. I want to have, I think, some purple and some blue. So I'm going to place it about there with my die. And I do need to cut this down. It's too big to go in my machine. So let me do that real quick. Okay, got my little piece of paper cut. And normally I try to run more than one through at a time, but I love, this is the Vagabond. An electronic die cutter makes it a million times easier. Okay. Just like that. But any die cut machine would work for this, even the mini ones. I'll probably link some of those below. I should have thought about, I am cutting off the top, so not very much of the blue is going to show, but just a little bit. But that's pretty, isn't that pretty? Okay, now I'm going to try to find another spot. I did actually buy 2 of these planners, but I'm going to try to get away with just using 1. And yeah, then I'll just kind of fiddle around until I find a spot that I feel like, let's see, kind of, you know, matches with that. That's pretty right there. So with more blue on the top, so. All right, I've got 4 shapes cut out of that paper, 2 for the fronts and 2 for the backs. And keep in mind, I'm not going to use the whole thing. You certainly can if you just want to leave it like that, since it's easier. It's already got the hole in there for you, which I love. Not all dies will make a hole for you. I like to save those extra little end pieces that I'm cutting off. I actually made this cute pair with some end pieces. So, all right, and I just wanted to show you how some of these dies, like this little round one, sorry, hoops, like these little round ones that are don't have an opening, a big opening where you can just push the paper out once you trim it. I was using just a pin because, you know, it has these tiny holes where you're able to push things out with, or making the holes that are actually what you're using to put your jump rings through. But I was using some gold paper, and every time I would try to push through that hole to get the paper released from the die through this little center hole, then I would make a mark on my gold paper, you know. So anyway, so I've been using the end of this fancy paper clip. I just pulled it undone and I poked that through there. There's the little holes to release the dies. You can also use like wax paper and sandwich your paper in between some wax paper, and that will help you release your dies, or release the paper from your dies. Okay, we're finally getting to the fun part. Sorry about all that boring talk. And I do have some of just my paper, my regular cardstock already cut out. So I can make them nice and thick. And this is a good glue. This is a good glue. This one's great. I love the ones that have a little flared end on the end. To help you spread your glue. You can just use whatever glue and a little paintbrush if you want to. But you know, the last one I did with this glue, it's so wet, it does tend to warp a little bit. So I've gone to just using, especially for the smaller pieces, maybe I'll try the Tombow one more time, but yeah, it definitely warped. So you do need to poke your little holes out. Sometimes they get stuck. I also wanted to show you here another idea that you would not have to drill holes with. These are some fancy ribbon clamp ends. I think that's what they're called. So if you have some of those ribbon ends, all I did was glue those on and smash them with a pair of pliers. Super easy. Those turned out really cute. So where was I? Okay, let's try this one. We'll see how it goes this time. So that makes it easy to spread your glue. You want to make sure you get your outer edges really good. And yeah, this is going to be kind of boring watching me glue, but this is actually some self-adhesive chipboard. I think I might have gotten a little, maybe carried away with the glue on that one. It looks like too much. So put that on there. And you want to do your best to make sure these are lined up just perfectly. Yeah, this glue is not my favorite because it takes longer to dry and it slides around a lot. Although you do have more time to work with it and make sure it's in the right spot. You'll want to make sure your hands are clean when you're doing this so you don't get the pretty front of your paper messy. And have like a baby wipe or something nearby to wipe your fingers on. Okay, then I'm gonna add a couple more layers. So this is I'm gonna add my self-adhesive chipboard there. Got that little whole piece stuck on there. And so I don't need as much glue for this side. And I like to do like 5 or 6 layers of paper to make them nice and thick. And you are free to do whatever amount of layers that you want to do. So let's see, that's 3. And this is how, okay, let me show you how much glue I would put on if it wasn't self-adhesive with my art glitter glue. Because I don't feel like it needs to completely cover it as long as it's holding well and you've got your edges covered. That's about how much I would do. Okay. So we're just building up the layers and that makes it really, really sturdy also. It almost feels like a piece of wood when you're done with your 5 or 6 layers. It is so tough. And there's nothing to worry about if it does warp a little bit. If you're using just whatever glue you have on hand, all you need to do is after you can put a book on top of them as they're drying. I want these as perfect as they can be because I'm gonna put some gold around the edges. I don't know if you saw that earlier. Where is that other pair? Like that. I think that makes them so stunning. It looks like a pair of polymer clay earrings. And I've done my fair share of polymer clay earrings. Believe me. I don't like the mess and cooking the clay and all the time that it takes to roll out the clay and get it all conditioned. So I think this is fun when I can use my scrapbook paper because I have so much of it. Okay, feeling pretty good about that. That thickness. I think I'll go ahead and put the back on. Let's see. Oh, yeah, that looks good to me. And then I'll probably glue the other one off camera so you don't have to watch me glue all day. A little boring, but I always make sure I get a little glue right above the hole, even though it's a really small spot, because that will make it more sturdy, and there's no way that your earring wire is going to rip through your paper. All right. And I'll go ahead and make my other matching one, and I'll be back. Okay, I've got all those layers glued together for my second one, and I do like to turn it upside down, put that freshly glued one on the bottom, and just kind of hold on to it for a few seconds like that. Kind of flatten it out and get it nice and solid. You'll have to forgive me if I keep going off camera, because this is a different setup than what I'm used to, and such a smaller project. Okay, and I can see here that it's not quite perfectly straight, but that's okay. I'm just going to use my nail file, my rough nail file, and I'm gonna just go along those edges a little bit. And you don't have to do this. If these are for you, it doesn't matter if they're perfect or not, but if you want to put the gold on the edges, it will look so much better if you just smooth it out a little bit. Keeping in mind that you're going to cut the top off where the hole is, so you don't need to worry about that end as much. Aren't those beautiful? So far, so good. And you can leave them like this. I'm going to seal them with a bit of Mod Podge. You cannot, yeah, you'll definitely want to seal them, and you can use the matte or the glossy. I'm not sure. I think I did the glossy for those other ones because I don't want the gold to turn matte. Not sure how that will work, but yeah, I'll just go ahead and do the glossy. And to do the resin, you do have to seal your paper first with a good couple coats of Mod Podge. And take care when you're filing that you don't file too much of the paper off, like on the back. That's easy to do. Just try to keep it, you know, I don't know what the word is, perpendicular. I don't know if that's even the right word, but yeah. All right, I've got my little bottle of Mod Podge, and I prefer the small bottles that you can get from the Dollar Tree, because usually when I have the great big bottles, they get dried up. Okay, now you want to make sure that your glue is dried. So give that, you know, a good 15 minutes for the art glitter glue. Other glues, you may need a half an hour. And I am going to hold on to it with some pliers. You can just use your fingers, but this way I won't get my fingers all messy. And you can, maybe I'll cut them first. Maybe I will cut them first, yeah. It probably doesn't matter. I'm just gonna take a good pair of scissors of, you know, some good, pretty sharp scissors. And let's see, so we're cutting off the end that has the hole in the top, because we don't want a hole down here. So I'm going to cut about there. Just do your best to cut straight across. Ooh. Just like that. Ooh, that's kind of crooked. And then, of course, you can use your offcuts for something. You know, that could be the top of another something, right? And then I'll probably file that down a bit and round my corners just a hair with my file. Okay, and then I'm going to use that one as like a template to cut the other one. So yeah, I cut off most of the blue on that one, which is kind of disappointing. So keep that in mind when you're placing your die. Whew, that shot across the room. And then I would just file that off a little. And kind of round the corners a little bit. On both of them. And gluing these, you know, if you cut out a bunch and then you could sit down and watch a movie while you're gluing the layers together. Binge watch your favorite show. You guys be sure and like this video for me and subscribe if you haven't already. That just means that you'll get notified when I have a new video out. Doesn't cost anything to subscribe. Yeah, I'm being careful of your back. I am going to put gold around the edges, so it's okay if it gets a little messed up, but yeah. Isn't that so cool? I mean, you could totally leave it how it is. You don't have to cut them, but I like to be, you know, change things up a little bit so it's my own. And it's okay if you guys want to copy me. I don't mind. That's like the highest praise, right? Oh, those are pretty. I'm going to love those. That one's got a little bit more blue in it. And that one's got a little more purple in it, but I love them. Alrighty. Back to the Mod Podge. Hopefully my brush is not all seized up. And I'm going to make sure I don't have, you know, dust on them. Just going to blow them off. But they should be good and dry now. And you do always get brush strokes when you're doing the shiny, the glossy Mod Podge. But yeah, just do your best. But if you're going to do the resin on top, I'm using UV resin, then it totally takes it all away and you won't see any of those brush strokes. Okay, that looks good. And I'm going to let that dry for a minute. And I do seal the sides as well. That helps when you're painting the gold on it. And of course, you know, if you get caught in the rain or something, they're going to be okay. So yeah, definitely not rocket science painting on some Mod Podge, but I just kind of go all different directions, and then you don't notice the brush strokes as much if you weren't going to do the resin. Make sure where you've sanded it, it's pretty smooth. And a little tip for using paintbrushes, you're not supposed to get whatever you're using, the paint or the Mod Podge, up farther than, you know, 3/4 of the way, because then it gets up into the whatever that is, the metal that's attached to it, and it's not good for your paintbrush. But it will last a lot longer if you keep your paint or your Mod Podge on the bottom half of the bristles. And I'm just doing this kind of quickly, but yeah, I'll probably finish that off camera as well. But yeah, make sure you get the sides.